Superman facts you didn't know. 1. Christopher Reeve's Superman family had a tragic end, all because of the Joker. His story got a new life in Superman Returns and tied into the TV Arrowverse's Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. Brandon Routh's Superman reveals the Joker gassed his daily planet on Earth 96, killing Lois Lane and dozens of others. We're talking Uncle Ben dead. As a result of this dark event, he wears a slightly darker costume inspired by Kingdom Come's gritty red and black S shield. 2. Superman once made Lois Lane black. In this story, Lois struggles to get residents to talk to her in an African-American neighborhood. So Superman uses a machine to transform Lois into a black woman for 24 hours. She experiences racism firsthand before reverting. For some reason, I don't see this story coming to a James Gunn Superman sequel near you. 3. In a now retcon story, Lex Luthor's hatred for Superman began with hair loss. Young Lex, a certified genius, was friends with the younger Superman until a lab accident wrecked Lex's experiment and left him bald. Lex was developing a cure for kryptonite poisoning to aid Superman when a fire erupted. Superman's super breath, trying to save Lex, spilled chemicals that destroy the cure and Lex's hair. Enraged, Lex blamed Superman for the loss and his baldness, turning their friendship into a lifelong vendetta over a scorched ego. Basically, Dr. Doom and Reed Richards' rivalry explained if it was written by Eric Andre. 4. At the end of Superman 2, Clark employs a bizarre power never seen before or since, a memory-wiping kiss, or what I call the Bill Cosby. This super kiss was not from the comics canon. It was invented for the film, loosely inspired by Superman's occasional use of hypnosis in Silver Age stories, but remains one of the oddest film-only powers. 5. In Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, he showcased another one-off power. In that film, Christopher Reeve's Superman repairs the Great Wall of China by simply staring at it, essentially using telekinetic vision to rebuild broken bricks. This superpower was actually invented due to budget restrictions. We never saw it again, like you never saw your dad after he said he was going to buy milk. 6. In a recent Justice League x Godzilla x Kong story, Godzilla soundly defeated Superman. The writer of this story in an interview stated he believed MonsterVerse Godzilla to be as strong as Prime Superman. The reason why Godzilla won so easily is because his radioactive breath has a similar signature to kryptonite, thus making Superman even more vulnerable. And when I say Superman got smacked, I mean he got bodied like Amber Heard at a Johnny Depp trial. 7. In another crossover canon to the 616 Marvel Universe, Superman defeated Thor. He later remarked he was one of the tougher opponents he ever fought because unlike Jake Paul, Superman fights real opponents. 8. Superman did not fly in his early appearances. He literally jumped like the Hulk, hence the saying, he is able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. He didn't fly until he was animated, which allowed for smoother storytelling and more alluring visual effects. 9. The reason why The Flash said Lois was the key in Batman v Superman was because of her untimely death, which was going to weaken Superman's resolve, thus making him vulnerable to Darkseid's mind control via anti-life equation. The Flash came from an Earth devastated by Darkseid and Superman. 10. The highest rated superhero TV episode ever was I Love Lucy's Lucy and Superman, drawing 48.3% of US households in 1957. These are ratings a Disney Plus show executive would sell its star's kidney to have. 11. Superman's costume stays pristine in battle thanks to a bioelectric aura, a tight energy field his Kryptonian body generates under Earth's yellow sun, which shields the suit from attacks like bullets, blasts, or cosmic punches. This is a John Byrne idea from 1986. However, his cape extends beyond the aura's reach and thus often gets shredded for dramatic flair and to let the reader know what state Superman has been through. 12. A famous research paper, the 1969 essay Man of Steel, Woman of Kleenex, written by Larry Niven, famously concludes it is impossible for Superman to have physical relations with any woman. We won't go into details, but I think it's safe to say Lois wouldn't be walking after that one. 13. In 1965, we saw Superman's base levels possibly at the highest it's ever been without external power-ups. He had to take precautions from sneezing in space, for example, because it was literally strong enough to obliterate an entire solar system. Obliterate like your mom obliterated her marriage after the mailman left more than just a package. 14. Superman's red trunks aren't underwear. They're a nod to 1930s circus strongmen and wrestlers who wore tight shorts over leotards to flex their muscles while keeping things modest. 15. In a now retcon story, in 1988, Superman executed General Zod using kryptonite. This haunted him for years, and this story might have influenced a certain plot point we see in a certain Zack Snyder movie. 16. David Corenswet's Superman growing up was Tom Welling's Clark Kent in Smallville. Comment below if you want to see a Smallville sequel with a different ending than the one we saw in Arrowverse, where this version of Superman gave up his abilities to live a normal life. It probably would have been smarter to just retire while retaining those godlike powers, but remember, we're dealing with Clark Kent, not Batman. This is basically the DC Comics version of I peaked in high school, but with laser vision. 18. Superman is not canonically classified as a genius, but he can perform genius-level mental feats due to his Kryptonian physiology. Numerous stories show Superman reading entire books in seconds and absorbing vast amounts of information almost instantly. This is possible because of his superhuman perception and accelerated thought processing, which allows him to process and retain information far beyond human capabilities. But compared to DC politicians, looks like Batman's brain on steroids. 19. Clark Kent's middle name, Joseph, is a tribute to Superman's co-creators, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. 20. In most stories, Superman abstains from alcohol and even becomes a vegan at one point. It is unknown if he used the women's restroom during this era. 21. In 1980's Superman 2, Superman originally kills Zod and his henchpeople, but it is later retconned in a special extended TV cut which included an added scene where Arctic Patrol officers escort Zod, Ursa, and Nan out of the fortress in handcuffs, alive and arrested. 22. In some rare stories, Superman shows Dr. Dolittle-like powers and communicates with animals. I'm not sure why anytime they show talking animals, they have human intelligence. Why can't we hear their translations be, "Poopy time! Oh look, grass! I love grass and grass loves me!" 23. In college, Clark Kent fell in love with a mermaid in a 1950s story. No, seriously, her name was Lori Lamaris and she was secretly a telepathic emissary from Atlantis sent to observe the surface world. Clark, attending Metropolis University, suspected something was off when Lori always used a wheelchair and kept her legs hidden under blankets and long skirts. He could have used X-ray vision. He refused out of respect. Turns out she didn't have legs, she had a tail. When she finally revealed her identity, she also admitted she already knew Clark was Superman by reading his mind. Their romance ended once she returned to the sea, but she remains one of the weirdest and most tragic love interests in Superman's history. 24. Krypto was originally a test subject to test the rocket technology that would later send baby Kal-El to Earth. Krypto's rocket got knocked off course and drifted in space for years. Eventually, it crash-landed on Earth and Krypto reunited with a young Superman. In some modern versions, Krypto was in the spaceship along with baby Clark. 25. In the 90s, during a weird time when Superman was being depowered to seem more relatable and Venom was at his most overpowered, taking on guys like Juggernaut, The two actually fought in a crossover. Venom briefly got the upper hand on Superman. Kal-El was losing until help arrived.